Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for your second video of the day. If you want to hear my thoughts on has Graham Potter saved his job from the victory yesterday against Leeds, link is in the description alongside the Patreon Discord. Hit the like button if you enjoy the Chelsea news updates and subscribe if you haven't already done so to the George Benson Football Channel. Today, in this news video, we are talking Mason Mount, contract updates. It's not looking good. If you're a Mason Mount fan, or really just generally as a Chelsea fan here, that we can't seem to get this man locked in. I'm going to give my thoughts on that today. Manu Kone as well from Borussia Monchengladbach. We're also going to discuss a little bit about Tammy Abraham and Moises Caicedo. We'll start with that one. He's signed a new deal at Brighton and Hove Albion, which of course, when we hear the story that Caicedo was on £3,000 a week, I don't know if it's 100% confirmed and true, but he signed a new deal to keep him at Brighton. So if Chelsea are going to be knocking on the door for Caicedo again in the summer, which you could believe at the minute because Arsenal seem to be the front runners for Declan Rice, so maybe Chelsea would go back in for Caicedo again. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But he signed a new deal, and Brighton obviously will still expect clubs to be going for him in the summer. But I'll begin by talking about Manu Kone. Now, Manu Kone plays for Borussia Monchengladbach. In terms of goals and assists, we're not here to talk about statistics in terms of those two metrics. Goals and assists this season, 1 goal and 1 assist in 22 appearances. But what we are seeing in Manu Kone right now is a player who week by week for Borussia Monchengladbach is growing in confidence, growing in quality, progressive defensive play. And that is in a defensive midfield position. So when Chelsea are talking about players that they want to bring in this summer, the market value right now for this guy is around 25 million euros. We're talking 80 to 100 million for Declan Rice, even though bloody Gary Neville thinks he's only worth 40 bloody million. This could be a bargain. And I've always got an issue when it comes to looking at players in the Bundesliga because we have seen Kai Havertz ain't what he's all cut out to be, supposedly, for the price we paid for him. And Timo Werner is already back in Leipzig. So when Chelsea are buying players from the Bundesliga, there's always that worry that it's just not going to click. But with Manu Kone, he's over 6'2", as far as I'm aware. He's over 6'2". He's a big, strong player. And I think Chelsea, at 21 years old, once again, could be able to strike a bargain to bring him in from Gladbach in the summer. Watch this space with this one, because the more we're led to believe that Kovacic may well be leaving, as we're about to say, Mason Mount may well be leaving as well, Chelsea will need to spend money on the midfield. And maybe Dennis Zakaria stays, and then you look at Kone again, he's got a great blend of both progressive play and good defensive statistics as well. So keep an eye on this one. But I think Chelsea will need to look around for defensive midfielders this summer, because I think any probabilities of signing a Declan Rice or a Jude Bellingham, with the way that things are right now at the club, it's going to be so incredibly difficult to get any kind of transfer like this one done. N'Golo Kante still not confirmed yet with his contract extension. We are led to believe that N'Golo Kante will be signing a new deal for 3 years at Chelsea Football Club. The next story that I want to discuss is James Horncastle reports Chelsea retain, be quiet, an interest in Tammy Abraham, and that hasn't changed since the takeover, or oscillated according to his streaky form. The streaky form is what we need to talk about. Chelsea have a £70.8 million buyback clause, which can be activated from July. His homegrown status is also an appeal. Now, what we've seen with Ivan Toney in the past week or so is that Ivan Toney is going to be seriously punished for breaking the law by betting on football. We know that you're not allowed to do that, so why the bloody hell's he gone and done it? It's another striking option that I think Chelsea would probably stay away from as a result of, well, we're not going to see him play very much at all for Brentford between now and the end of the season. Tammy Abraham is another option. There's also Victor Osimhen, who we spoke about earlier this week. When you look at the record this season in Serie A, comparing Victor Osimhen and Tammy Abraham, obviously 70.8 million. Chelsea have spent more money than that on a striker from Serie A in Romelu Lukaku. We didn't see the return. Tammy, at Roma, there have been signs of brilliance. The fact he's obviously got this affiliation with Chelsea from before, European champion, fell out of love under Thomas Tuchel, but then in the end of the day, goes to Roma, playing now under Jose Mourinho. Moments of class, but once again, is he that out-and-out goal scorer that Chelsea desperately need to take our attack to the next level? I don't think there's been enough from Tammy Abraham at Roma to suggest that he's going to be at a level that Chelsea will need him to be at to compete. And I think if United this summer go in for Victor Osimhen, then they will have got the significantly better striker than Tammy Abraham. So I think Chelsea, it's a tough one. At the moment, we have got to look at exactly what is making this team struggle. And it is the fact that there's no one to put the ball in the back of the net. Tammy Abraham was doing well. He was one of our top scorers before he was even sold. And for whatever reason, he couldn't even make the FA Cup final matchday squad under Thomas Tuchel. Something there he didn't like. But now we've got Graham Potter in charge. Could he make Tammy Abraham cook? We'll have to wait and see. Will Chelsea sign Tammy Abraham again this summer from Roma? Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. I want to finish this video today by discussing the updates surrounding Mason Mount. Simon Phillips has tweeted, according to Fabrizio Romano, talks over Mason Mount's contract have completely stopped, and there is a feeling he could leave Chelsea this summer. Liverpool's interest is also concrete. The issue I have here with this is people have got a short-term bias against Mason Mount because he's out of form right now. People seem to have an issue with Mason Mount even when he was winning player of the... But hang on, let me just get this cat. What are you crying about? She keeps on crying all the bloody time. Talk to the microphone. Go and say hello to the fam. All right. Okay, we're it. You can go back there. You can come back in a minute. Even when Mason Mount was cooking in the early stages of his Chelsea career, some fans didn't like him. And I can understand now why some fans would be slating Mason Mount for performances now. When Frank Lampard came in, we got the Mason Mount who was scoring goals, setting up goals, running a lot, working hard for the team. Now, I can't see where Mason Mount fits into this Chelsea team. And that is the most difficult part of this whole equation. Trying to get Mason Mount back to his best means having a system. Well, for a start, we don't really have a system right now. So that's a problem in itself. Having a system that will allow us to facilitate the positives of Mount's game is also very difficult. If we're going to use a 3-4-3, then Mason Mount probably has to be used as an inverted forward. If we're using a 4-2-3-1, Mount probably gets used as a 10, whereas he's better as an 8. And in a 4-3-3, we've seen it before. Mason Mount playing as that left-sided player in a midfield 3 doesn't really work either. And then when you look at the fact that Liverpool, the way they play under Jurgen Klopp, you just know that Mason Mount absolutely cooks at Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. So at the moment, Fabrizio Romano has reported contract talks between Chelsea and Mason Mount, they have completely stopped. It is stalled because they cannot come to an agreement. We know that Mason Mount loves Chelsea. We are led to believe that Mason Mount wishes above all else to remain at Chelsea Football Club. However, this summer, if Chelsea and Mount do not come to an agreement on that contract, Chelsea will be forced to cash in. We cannot allow a player of Mason Mount's ability to go for free next season. At the minute, Mount isn't getting into the Chelsea 11. He was not ready to play this weekend, but under Graham Potter, I don't see where Mount fits in. At the moment, we don't know what we're going to see game by game in terms of a formation and a team structure from Potter. We saw a 3 at the back yesterday. Will we see us revert to a 4 at the back? It's difficult, in my opinion, to know where Mason Mount fits in at Chelsea under Graham Potter. So, Liverpool are the team who are seriously interested in him. The talks and rumours about Mount to Liverpool, for me, is concerning because I just know that Mason Mount is going to come good again. At the moment, just like any player, you are not going to see perfect form every single month, every single game throughout a player's career, particularly somebody who plays the way that Mason Mount does. He's going through a sticky patch right now. It's been poor for over a year. We cannot deny that. Even the heaviest, the biggest Mason Mount fans, we cannot say that Mount's been good this season. He's been poor. And at the moment, Graham Potter has got to try and get him back into this team. I think in order for Mount and Chelsea to come to this agreement, Potter's got to find a way to get the best out of Mason Mount. And that for me is my biggest concern, that between now and the end of this season, what is Mount going to feel like? If he's not in the starting 11, why would he be led to believe he should sign that new contract? What is there to keep Mount at Chelsea if he's not getting played? And at the same time, Liverpool, it just to me sounds like a match made in heaven for both Mount and Liverpool. I think both parties absolutely benefit from working with one another. So Chelsea at the minute, only a year left on the deal after this summer. So Chelsea will be forced to sell. And I really think at the minute that we're going to lose Mount. And whether or not, due to recency bias, we should think that's a good thing, depends on the fee. It really does depend on the fee that Chelsea can get for him. But I'd be concerned. I really would. We shouldn't be letting players who we know have got such a high ceiling, like a Mount, go to a rival when we're already struggling so much ourselves. To me, it's crazy. But what can we do? If Mount won't sign the deal, Chelsea have got to sell him this summer. It is a difficult one. Let me know your thoughts on Mount's contract situation in the comments down below. Do you want to see Mason Mount stay, or do you want him to go? It is one that has polarising opinions right now. But let us know in the comments down below. Check out today's earlier video, 6 things we learned also from yesterday's game. And tomorrow, we start building for Borussia Dortmund. Come on, you Blues.